Hey there, Polka Dad here. So I'm going to be playing here NL5 Zone, just taking some of the study work I've been doing and just putting it into practice now. I played a few hands just to get to this screen so I could make it that you can only have to see the zone screen on the recording. Let's dive right back into the play. So this, of course, will be straightforward. So Jack 10, I will fold to an undergun open. And 6-5 suited offsuit from the button would be a fold. King 8, I can fold that. Now I did see in my my studies that the big blind is folding to the small blind 70, I think I said it was like 72% of the time, which means I guess I can really open really wide at the small blind when it does fold to me. So I'm going to keep that in mind, that I can probably steal a lot of big blinds from the small blind. No, not from the small blind, from the button. It was actually from the button, actually. So it wasn't from the small blind. It was actually from the button. So I don't think that really changes much because I'm already opening up pretty wide from the button anyway. King 9 offsuit, I can open at the small blind. And obviously I'll fold to any kind of 3-bet in that spot. Even a small 3-bet like that, we can easily just fold it. We'll open up the 10-9 here. So on this board here, I'm going to put slightly above half pot. Don't really know if there was a way really to keep my opponent in there. But I want to at least be betting for value in there in that spot. I'm not gonna bet smaller than at least a little bit over half pot. Queen Jack offsuit here, button to cutoff is a fold. Especially as the 3.5x raise. And we get 3-bet up from the small blind. There, it's easy fold. Ace-9 offsuit in the cutoff we can raise. This is pretty much the bottom of our offsuit aces that we would raise there in the cutoff. So let's see. Versus the cutoff in the small blind, 8-8. I'm going to raise it up, make it 30 cents here. Actually, I'm going to make it 40. Just because I had the big blind left to act here, plus I'm going to be out of position. And with this particular board here, my 3-bet, his calling range, he's short stacked. So I'm going to check it here. I think I can call a bet though, unless he shoves. But he's short stack. He's kind of like pot committed being in this pot here. Checks back, which I think is kind of interesting. Again, being out of position, I'm less likely to bet here. And I don't think he's going to be putting in any chips with worse than 8-8 or a bluff here. He could easily have queens. He could even have 10s, ace-10, ace-queen. So I think this is an easy spot to fold here. Fold out to 10-9. So let's see, button is fold. So we have a gut shot here, multi-way pot. I took a look at my research on these gut shots, and they very rarely turn into straights. So I'm actually going to fold out of here to a pot-sized bet in a multi-way pot. It's very difficult to hit your gut shot. So if you're not getting really good odds for it, there's really no sense in messing around, especially in a multi-way pot. King Jack offsuit we will open up here. And we get a 3-bet from the small blind here. Obviously, a small blind 3-betting range versus under the gun is going to be super small, so not something we would continue with King Jack offsuit. Bump up our King Queen here. Let's see. King Queen off. I can call it, or I can, because I'm going to be out of position here, this is a spot I'm just going to actually fold. If I was in position, it'd be a different story, but being out of position there, if it was one of the blinds who raised it, I would call it, but with it being the cutoff there, out of position, I'd prefer to fold it there. Not having initiative, and I'm not going to 4-bet there. Especially also to such a large 3-bet as well. Ace 10 offsuit here from middle position. I can raise it up. Backdoor nut flush draw. Out of position. Just gonna have to check it off here. With the way these players play, they will usually bet to connect with the board in any way. I mean, I shouldn't say anyway, but usually it's a pair at least. If you go and take a look at one of my videos, one of the last video I just posted about my underhood video, you can see that they will generally bet with a pairing the board. So, Queen 10 suited under the gun, yes. Again, I'm using my tighter ranges here. So this is definitely a board here. King 8-8. He's going to have such a wide range. This is a much better board for him here. So being out of position, but just check it. And he bets, and we can just fold it up here. Six six here is actually, I know it seems kind of very tight, but the ranges I'm using, the tight ranges based on the rake, 6-6 is actually a fold onto the gun. 6-6 is like the best pair that I will fold onto the gun. So I see we'll raise up the aces. So it's going to be a very expensive pot. Make it 255, which is 3x. That'll push him all in. So I think this is definitely a good flop for me here. So at this point, the only option is just shoving all in. Yep. That just was not a good flop for him at all. So this here, we are going to make it 20 cents. So out of position here, he limps. These guys usually limping with suited connectors. So I'm actually okay throwing out a half pot c-bet here. If he doesn't connect to this board, he's going to fold it. I think this was actually a pretty good board here for me. Because since they are usually using suited cards with those limp calls. So if he doesn't have diamonds or a club, he's going to fold it. This King 10 make a fold. This ace-9 offsuit, I will defend or just check back. And I will definitely just call the min bet here with the ace here. I could bet into him here, but I don't see the purpose of doing it. We'll check back. Now we end up with a straight, so let's just see if we can get any kind of value from him here. No. Raise this up here. So it's middle position versus cutoff. So this is a spot here that I am going to check call. So I got a, obviously I got middle pair. We got a gut shot as well if we can get a 3. And he bets 51 cents into us this time. We can improve with an ace. Unless he's got a 3 already. I can call it though. And I think this is definitely much better for my range here than his. That being said, we'll just check it down. And hopefully he just checks behind and we just take it. He shoves all in. I don't think he's given up his entire stack for this here. So I think we can easily just fold out of this now. You could make a case that we probably should have folded on that turn. It's one maybe I want to take a look at. I'll mark that down to take a look at that one, see maybe if I should have folded on that turn or not. Here we do have a gut shot and a backdoor flush draw. So this is a spot here. I think I could just call it here. I don't want to raise it because he's short stack. And we still have the flush draw and the straight draw. So now when he checks to me here, I'm just going to throw out a half pot bet, considering he has $1.06 behind him. If he shoves, I might actually call it. And he folds it up. So this is one of those weird spots where you have a limp and then a raise. With ace 8 suited here, um, I'm going to fold it. Just when you see the raise on top of the limp, it's kind of a confusing spot and how to deal with that there. And ace 8, kind of a middling, middling cards where unless I'm going to be on a flush draw, um, I don't really think it's worth it in that spot because it's most likely going to be a multi-way pot as well if I call, because the limper usually is going to to join it, and it's just not a spot I think I want to be in, even though I would be in position. We got the queen here, but I'm not going to bet for a 10 cent pot, for into this pot here. That could just easily be a check down victory, and if he bets, then I don't really see any purpose in betting here with the amount of money in the pot. And this is a pot that I'm totally fine just giving up on when I would just checked in the big blind anyway. Sometimes you can just take it down. So obviously here we'll bump this up to 20 cents. Okay. And queen 3-2. I just feel better off doing a check call here. And he checks behind again. The king, I don't love the king as well. Again, just going to do a check behind. And now the 7 comes out, and I'm not really too worried here. So I'm going to throw out a bet now. Small bet. And he doesn't call because he didn't hit the board in any kind of way. In this spot here, in the big blind versus under the gun open, I'm actually going to call it. This is kind of a tough spot with the under the gun open, because I was in danger of him then raising over, so I didn't want to raise it up myself here, because then I just get in danger of just losing so much more at that point. We almost took it down. We were one card off. So in a multi-way pot here, obviously this is not really a great hand for me here, as these guys can have suited clubs. These guys are doing those kind of calls with suited hands. Somebody could easily have a king here, and with me not having any clubs, It doesn't really pay for me to do anything here on this board. Now an ace comes out, so I have a pretty solid ace at this point. I feel like ace queen and ace king would have 3-bet. So I got no problem calling the ace jack here, and we just hope he doesn't have like a two pair. But I think any one of these pairs here. Now that flush comes out and there's straight draws out there too. I think now I can pretty much fold with the any two makes a straight, and one of these guys could have a flush too. I just want to see what happened in this hand. We'll find out. We'll find out when we are able to review all the hands, which I will look forward to doing. Here we get aces from under the gun. And we get a raise from number 3. So we'll 4-bet him up to $1.56 around there. We get a call. So definitely just going to throw out a bet here. Half pot is fine. And 9-9 will raise. So this is a tough spot here too, with the call here. Usually this guy is going to back out here, but this is such a huge 3-bet here. I'm okay folding the 9s. That's a huge 3-bet. That's like about that was a huge 3-bet. 72 cents divided by 0.05. Yeah, that was a 14. That was a 14x 3-bet. So 14x minus 11x 3-bet. Yeah, I don't think I'm calling 9s on that kind of 3-bet. It'll be interesting to see tomorrow when I look over the session to see what kind of hand was 3-betting like that. Here on the limp from the button, this I'm actually going to limp through. Interesting spot here. I could actually really bet here in position, but with it being a limp pot, we'll just check through. I'm risking, if I bet here, I'm just risking too much to win such a small pot. The percentage just won't make sense. And sometimes you could take it down just with a check battle. I think that was really the best bet there. So we'll raise up to King 10 offsuit here from the button. And big blind here, I don't think there would be any reason that I would be calling King 10 offsuit. So we can fold that up. You know, it's amazing the amount of three bets that you actually see. But you know, I looked, and most of the positions, and I think big blind is one of them. They're three betting at a 7% 7% rate here at NL5 ignition zone. So there actually is a lot of three betting that happens here, which would kind of surprise you at these stakes. But a lot of the three bets are very good three bets, and a bunch of three bets are not very good three bets. But I mean, 7% is a pretty aggressive range. So let's see, ace two here. I mean, nothing much happening. You know, we just got a backdoor straight draw. And we do have a gut shot here, so let's see what happens. And now with the pair of aces, just such a you know, I could just check call this and just check it down, you know, which is fine. You know, I got no reason to bet there because if anything, I don't think he has anything to begin with. But if he does have anything at that point, it's going to be an ace, and it's going to be a better ace than mine. So. So queen 10 off big blind for the button. We can call this. I mean, the flop is not going to hit him at all here. I could actually throw out a bet here, but I guess I'll just check behind just because I'm out of position. I was almost being inclined to actually call a bet there. I so want to bluff this here. I so want to bluff it. But you know, I don't know what he's going to fold with. You know, if he has just kind of some kind of pocket pair like nines or tens or something like that, he's never gonna fold that anyway. So on the other hand, I'd like to just go and take a look at it and just see if it's something that I should have bluffed, knowing that you know he's unlikely he's got twos or threes, many twos or threes in his range. Um, But I mean, then again, you know, we're talking about it was a button open, so it's you know he could have four. He could have easily had something like 4-3 suited, even you know that he could open up with. So here, this queen to 6. This is the spot I'm going to throw out a half-pot C bet. Just such a dry board with the clubs being out there, the two over pairs. I think it's just an okay C bet spot there. Plus, he's not going to have many sixes or many eights in his range, so Just have to worry about a queen, and if he doesn't have a queen, he's going to fold it anyway. So, because the calling ranges really should be much tighter, obviously. Especially he was a player that had about $6. So it's difficult, of course, to say who's a reg and who's not a reg, but the players here are more passive than they are aggressive. So. So king queen off here, we would just call it from the big blind. This is much better for my range than his range, but again, just being out of position, I just really prefer to bet for value here. He min bets me here. For the min bet, I'm going to call it, of course, with the 2 overs. And now we see an ace. Again, a min bet here, but now I'm not going to call. I don't really have any draws or any real way to improve my hand. And if he has an ace, I'm already dead anyway, so. So with a limp here, ace 9 is actually going to be a fold for me. And king 7 suited would be a fold here. If it was a 10-cent bet, then I would call it, but a 20-cent bet, we will fold. And king 5 will bump up in the small blinds. Alright, so you can fold that. We'll bump up to king queen. Suited, we can raise from the cutoff. It's an interesting spot here. 7, 8, 9. This is actually something I'm okay throwing out a C bet to. Just because, you know, he's gonna have mostly sets there, and also suited cards, and you know I do connect well to that board, so I think that was a good spot to see bet, and especially in position, of course. If I was out of position, then I would not see bet that board. In position helps a lot for throwing out C bets. We get a call from the button. We get top pair, of course, here, so definitely going to throw out a value bet, a value C bet. And he tells me he has nothing. Thank you. I guess a fold would have also told me that. Okay. Ace 2 here. We will raise it up. Sorry if I'm talking so low. It's like I'm in super concentration mode right now. So we got a backdoor nut flush draw, and we got bottom pair. So this is a good check calling opportunity. And we'll see if we can improve on the turn. The 8, I don't really love the 8 here for my range. Better for his range here. It doesn't really improve our draws at all. So I can fold to any bet here now. Queen 10 offsuit, big blind button we can call. We get middle pair here, so we're just going to check call this. Now this is a spot I have no problem throwing out a C bet just to take the pot. I said C bet. Obviously, it's not a C bet. It's just a bet to take the pot. At that point, with a 10, you know, hand is vulnerable. I know at that point I have the best hand when the 7 comes out. So no reason to risk a river card that's going to possibly beat me. Just take the pot now. Obviously, I'm going to be much less inclined to fight for any of these pots where I am checking as a big blind. So that was a spot that I noticed that the blinds do fold to the button raise a lot more than like small blind to big blind, which I thought was kind of surprising actually when I looked at the stats, the zone stats. So in the button, ace eight offsuit. So if I had like real reads on my opponents, I could actually bet this up 20 cents here. But not really knowing what this means is actually a fold for me here. And if, for the most part, in limp pots, I'm going to err on the side of caution. And really just continue with my best hands. I mean, just raise my best hands, and also I can always just limp behind with, like my bottom pocket pairs and some of the suited, worse suited connectors. So obviously it's not going to fold. So on the 3-bet here, ace queen offsuit versus a big blind is actually going to be a call. Don't really love the flop too much here. If I had more connectivity, if he bets here, I would call. But even though I mean, obviously he could have, he could have jacks here. He could have anything. So I think it would just fold out of that hand. And queen jack offsuit here. This actually has been something I could actually 3-bet it, believe it or not. It's actually been a pretty successful 3-bet here for me. Gonna 3-bet a little bit higher than normal. Now, we do get a call, but I do have a pretty good flop here for me to throw out a half pot bet. He calls it, which I don't love now, and the 8 is kind of a brick here. So I think at this point now I'm going to probably give up on his hand, although actually the 8 is actually probably better for me. And he calls it. So this was a bad situation here, out of position. I'll have to give up this hand. Yeah, we screwed that one up. Yeah, I screwed that one up. Probably should give up on the turn there when he calls my bet. Because actually, how great is that 8 for me? I'll have to look at that one. But we spewed away a lot of chips on that hand with nothing. Kind of got a little bit too cute there. Kind of got too cute there. Out of position. Got to be playing a little bit smarter out of position. In position, I can make that hand a very different story. So, Yep, 7-5 from the small blind. We can raise this up. And it's mistakes like that that have definitely been costing me here. I got to kind of stay away from. Out of position in a spot like that, I shouldn't be so aggressive. I mean, he did call my 3-bet, so his range is pretty tight too, and that's pretty good hand for his range too, actually. So it would have been better if it was lower cards. If it were lower cards, then I think it would have been better. But you know what? He has aces and he has kings in his range. So when I think about it that way, betting into him like that out of position probably was a bad idea with that particular hand, and especially with that particular flop, having an ace and a king out there. So that's something I need to think about more when I'm playing. So it wasn't even the fact that I didn't have anything. It was the fact that the board really hit his range well when he's calling my 3-bet, especially considering I have a tighter range there as well, in a small blind 3-bet spot. So this is actually a fold here to the under the gun open. Just thinking, in general, I don't really like the idea of even playing King Jack offsuit and Queen Jack offsuit in that spot. My ranges show to play them there and to 3-bet them there, but I don't know how I feel about that. But whatever. I'm not going to second guess that aspect of it. It was the portion of where my post-flop play was pretty bad on that board. So ace-5 suited here from an under the gun open, pretty big open. But I could 3-bet it here actually. Make it $1. This is a good 3-bet hand. He shoves us, then we gotta. I think we need to fold to a shove. So 17 cents, 51. All right, we can definitely throw out a half pot C-bet here. Ace 3 under the gun is a fold. Open ender here. I'm no problem just putting out a bet. I'm gonna three bet pretty big here. 3 6 $1 2. Just because of all the other players in here. Huh. Small blind calls it. Wow. Well, this is crazy. All right, it's gonna be an interesting one. Well, holy Jesus. What a terrible flop for this kind of a board. Wow. I want to see what happened here. Wow. That was crazy. Let's see, King Jack offsuit here. We'll raise it up. Check Swiss here as a spot. Definitely just throw out a C bet. And when he raises here, we'd definitely just fold it. Let's see, 7 6. Nope. So the spot here, multi-way, potential multi-way pot, we'll just fold out of it. Especially we see when craziness happens that everybody is calling my super large 3-bet. Let's see, Queen 9 here. Again, I could just raise it up 20 cents here to this limp, but I'm just going to stay away from those situations with, borderline hands. So let's see. Fours, small blind versus button. There's going to be a fold. 8-8 will raise it up. A6, we can raise it. Okay. Uh, 3-3, we'll fold that from under the gun. Ace-4 we will raise. A6, we'll raise it up here from the button. So here I'm going to throw out a C-bet in position. We get a call. I don't have my flush draw anymore. A check to us here again. I'm inclined to just throw out another bet with another check. We don't get the fold, unfortunately. This is something I could definitely bluff, though. I know I shouldn't be bluffing too much, but I think I definitely can bluff a flush here. Yeah, we'll take it down. I think it's one of the few spots where I can bluff in that spot. We have a straight and a flush, both of which would be good for our range, so I think that was a good spot there. Alright, fold this. Because what else am I going to do with an 8 with an 8-6 suited at that point? Especially when I've already bet 2 streets. I might as well just go to 3rd street at that point and complete the bluff. Especially on a great card like that for me. And that just shows the difference of how much easier it is to bluff in position than out of position. Queen Jack offsuit under the gun is a fold. It's always one of those ones I'm always unsure of. Even still, I've been playing for months in Queen Jack offsuit, and okay, this is definitely a great C betting opportunity. The 4 I don't really love. I don't think he loves it either, but I think I could just check back here because the 4 doesn't really change much. And I could just fold out of this hand now. So I would have called this here, but of course on the 3-bet we'll fold it. So 0.17. I'm gonna make it 0.5, so 85 cents, 5%. I did 5%. I mean, I did a 5x raise. Just knowing that I'm going to be out of position in that hand, I want to just raise it a little bit bigger. Which is something I really should always be doing when I'm in a small blind, is raising 5x. So this will make 25 cents with 2 limpers. Okay. Queen 10 4. So here I'm going to raise him up to $3. And I think we'll just have to call this and hope he doesn't have something like 2 pair. Or a set. I think we had to call that no matter what. Of course, this set was always possible too. Oh, I didn't get the top up. So we'll just shove this ace-9 since we don't have any money behind us. I don't know if I should call that. I guess I have to, right? So 3-3 from the cutoff is actually going to be a fold. Oh, I'm almost inclined to use the upswing opening ranges in this here and just play some pots. I feel like I play too. I don't know. I feel like I play a little bit too tight. Let's switch to upswing ranges and see what happens. I'm going to play a lot more pots this way, but let's use the upswing ranges. Let's have a little fun. And just go with go with the wider ranges here. Get into more situations. Because one thing that's been happening is I'm not winning enough big pots, and then I lose these big ones, and then I end up being down. And I think it's been one of the problems why I haven't won all month yet. Besides the fact there's some bad post flop played out too. Here, of course, we just want to get some value here. Half pot is fine. Let's just make it a little bigger now. And now we just bet a pot, and maybe he'll raise us here. Nope. See, again there, I have a straight, and I couldn't make much off of it. Even flopping a straight, I'm not really getting much value off of my good hands. And then I lose these bigger pots, hence the losing has been what's been happening. Of course, some of that does have to do with rake. I mean, let's not take rake out of the equation here. It's so much tougher to win bigger pots with the rake of 5%. So does that mean I should be playing more hands? You could make that argument. I should be playing more hands because of the rake. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question, actually. But rake is really difficult to overcome when it's 5%, max of $2, and even $2 here. I mean, how often are you reaching $2? So 5% is pretty hefty. At 2 cent, 5 cent, where 5% at one of the higher limits is not so bad. But the bottom line is, at these limits, I just want to, more than anything, even though it's not about the money, it's more about me making the right plays. So like when I do that queen jack offsuit on the small blind, it's not, the way I played it was very poor. That one situation there, I might want to take to the forums and find out if I should be calling that there. I think I should be calling the all-in anyway, and it's just unfortunate that he had fours. Let's see, 9-10 here. We can raise it up, of course, because I'm playing upswing ranges, so the other ranges don't like 10-9 for some reason. But let's just play more hands. Get into more spots. I really want to get into more spots too, especially since I could look at the micros for practice. I want to get into more spots. So, all right, definitely get a call here. Not too worried about the aces. Let me just check behind. So I have to re-familiarize myself with the upswing opening ranges. I think it's a good idea. Let me get into some more spots here. At these particular limits. And just work on my post flop play, because pre-flop isn't the issue. It's post flop. So open ender, I'm gonna throw out a bet here. Just checks it off real quickly here. So I'm gonna throw out another bet. King jack off, so we can raise it up. So let's see, versus cutoff button, 7-5 suited is actually a 3-bet here. So I think it's interesting to do it. Because I'm not going to call that 7-5 suited, so, you know. Cutoff range is pretty wide. I want to make this series like this video like a two part video. One open wide, one play loose, one play tight, tight playing, loose playing portions of the video. NL5 zone tight, NL5 zone loose. Actually, might not be a bad idea. I just hate editing videos. I hate editing videos. So this is, I mean, it's a limp pot, so I don't want to go too crazy here. Interesting how you check that there. All right. I mean, I have to call them in bet, of course, with the pair. Let's see, big blind versus cutoff. Queen jack offsuit. I can call this here. All right. I'll definitely be folding this if he bets. If he see bets here. Not much going on, so we can fold it. So king two suited. If he folds, I could bet, but not to the button raise. So top pair, meh, kicker. All right, we just gotta obviously just call it. You know, I'm not gonna raise it here. His raise to 10 is interesting. Obviously, we have to call it here. I'm just gonna have to call this bet and just hope he doesn't have a better ace than me or two pair or anything like that. Maybe he's got, you know, a pair of queens or some other weird hand. And he actually had a worse ace. Oh, we split, but he had a worse ace than me. I didn't have enough time to really digest why we split that and why I didn't take it. So, Jack 9 offsuit from the small blind. We're going to actually bet here. Tonight, my study plan. I plan on looking at more multi-way pot situations, watching some multi-way pot videos from the upswing. That's my study plan for the evening, and then I'll play a little bit more tonight too. Probably continue with the upswing ranges. I enjoy the idea of just getting into more spots. It's more interesting. I don't know how I feel about those other ranges either. Here, Queen 10. King 10. I don't see any situation that we'd be calling this here. No, so we can just fold this now. Ace 5 from the cutoff. I'm not opening their optional hands either. Ace 5 offsuit from the cutoff is actually an optional hand, which I'm not going to. Not going to open there. So middle pair, no flush draw, unfortunately. No spades. And I think this is just an easy check down situation. Take the pot. Upswing's optional hands I'll be more inclined to play when we get to higher stakes. If we ever get to higher stakes, we will. We'll get to higher stakes eventually, don't worry. Queen 10 offsuit here versus the cutoff open is a call. This is nice. We have an open ender here, so this is going to be a check raise here. So 48 cents about. Always go a little bit higher. Calls it the 4 I don't love here. We'll check it off here. Still have 8 outs to work with at least. And now with the pair of fours, um, out of position, I'm just gonna have to give up on this one here. I think that was the main difference of the last of that debacle. Queen Jack is out of position. Um, I think after the flop, when he calls my bet and my hand doesn't improve, it's time to give up on it. In position, I can play it a little more aggressively. Out of position, I got to be a little more passive. IP, AGG, OOP, PASS, IVE. So Jack 10 here in this particular spot, I'm going to fold out of his hand with a limp and then a raise. So Queen 9 suited, I can actually call here, but it being in a multi-way pot, I'm just going to fold it. Just want to avoid the multi-way pots if I don't have to, unless it's got, unless I got like a really solid hand. Queen 9's okay, it's not great. It's a bluffy type of a hand more than anything, I think. Especially multi-way pots, so. Plus, God knows if one of those blinds there are gonna, you know, one of the blinds come in, now you got, got a four-way pot, five-way pot, or one of them squeezes, and I have to fold anyway, so. This is an interesting spot here. I really am just hoping for because it's such a big raise, potential multi-way pot. I know it's probably very nitty to fold that, but again, if I don't get an eight, that's a lot of that's a pretty big bet for me to call. Only really hoping for an eight there, so I don't think that'd be the right play. Like if I really wanted to get really crazy, I could have three bet that. Um, but I'm just looking over the board here. Obviously, I'm not doing anything on this board. Don't mind me. I'm going to eat a couple almonds while I'm playing. Nope. I apologize for my chewing. Sure, it's terrible. So 4-4 here. I'm okay with limping behind. I have a gut shot. I know they have pair, so Just check behind here. I could really bet this here. I just take the pot down now. Oh, didn't really expect that. On a rainbow board with all these low cards, I'm kind of surprised. But it says to me that somebody at least has a pair of 5 and a pair of 7, so I don't think there's ever a time when they don't. Mm, 7-4 suited. I can 3-bet or I can make it 32 cents. So this is pretty good for my range. I'm in position. Alright, so we out of position on this one. 3 of a pot. Not great for my range. Better for theirs. I'll fold out of it. So limp pot here. Yeah, it's just twos. I'm gonna limp through. Paired board makes things interesting. Hopefully we get a 2 to come out on the turn. Queen. Don't love that. Now my 2s are completely useless. You know, opening wider ranges, I am getting a lot more uncontested pots, which is good. If he raises me, I'm gonna 3-bet him, but don't have to. So here's an interesting spot. Small blind versus hijack, ace jack off. I'm actually going to fold it. A7 suit I can fold versus the under the gun open. Here we'll call. Or we'll bump it up. I think it's the right play. Yep. I'll throw out a half pot bet. See if we get somebody to come along here. We do. Everybody does. Get a little more value now. It's interesting that that hard coming out probably not help me get more value. It was still nice I was able to get those flop calls. Two short stacks here. If he checks again, I'm going to bet. We'll just check behind now. Interesting. Interesting bet by him. Interesting call by him. All right. Obviously, I'm going to fold this. Let's see. This is versus cutoff. No. King Jack offsuit here would be a borderline one. So King Jack offsuit. under the upswing rules. It's like you could do either or. I prefer just to fold that hand. Probably shouldn't be eating. We're gonna be having dinner soon. I don't love having to call that, but it's kind of borderline, and you know, do have the pot odds on it. Yeah, I think I'm gonna call this here and just see if we can get a check here. If he bets, though, I think we could fold it. Yeah, now we can fold it up. King 9 offsuit. I'll raise if it falls to me. It's like I predicted it would. You notice since I started the looser ranges that I'm picking up a lot of dead money, a lot of blinds this way. All right, this will play in position. Definitely a good spot for AC bet. And on the raise here, I have no reason to continue, so we'll fold it up. Okay. Middle position calls. We got a multi-way pot here. Tends to happen is like when middle position calls, then you end up in a multi-way pot situation a lot of times. So usually one person's bound to like just follow along because they feel like they have better odds to call now. Obviously this flop is not great. Okay, I don't know what happened there, but obviously we're gonna fold. This guy just said, "I'm done with this game." Yeah, I'm just trying to digest what the hell just happened. I guess we lagged or something. All right, so we're gonna bump this one up 5x, so 75 cents. Queen 9 suited. Yeah, they actually open up Queen 9 suited from under the gun. So loose, but let's just do it again to spots. Get into spots and steal blinds once in a while. Steal some blinds. Interesting check back here. Gonna throw out a bet. The beauty of being in position. God, what a difference it makes. Being in position makes playing poker so much easier. You know, it really is amazing. When you're in position, it's like you can relax. You know, when you're out of position, you're like, well, what really is going on here? What's happening here in this hand? Because I really don't know because I'm out of position, and it's kind of like I'm playing with one eye instead of having two eyes when I'm playing in position, and it just makes life so much easier. So make the tougher choices in position than out of position. Out of position, just play a little more simpler of a game. Could be very helpful. In position, in position, in position, in position. Position is key, is like the first thing you learn when you're playing poker. Let's see, this is versus the hijack. I don't think this is something I would 3-bet here. No. So, jack in the button, much better than jack like and under the gun. Unless you're playing versus the blinds, so. Definitely just try to c-bet here. Almost inclined to shove him all in. I'm going to do that here. Just because he's short stack. I don't want to be in a situation where, I don't know. I feel like because he's short stack and I really want to, and I'm going to be out of position. I think I'd rather just shove there. But maybe that wasn't the right play. I don't know. Yeah, this board is just really not great for me at all. So 8-7 suited is actually an open. Yeah, I've been stealing, like, since I opened up my range, I've been stealing so many blinds. You know, that's really a great thing. Getting into more spots and then stealing some blinds with some of these other hands, I don't have a problem with. The fours, I'm just going to limp through. We'll either get a set or we won't. This is quite an interesting situation. We'd love to see a check and then a 4 come through. No, we still do have a straight opportunity, potentially. This is a weird board. I would need to have a 5 to get a straight, so this is an interesting spot. I'm going to call here because any 5 and any 4 improves my hand, so let's call it. And we get that 5, so let's just get value here. Nope. I'll fold here. So 7-4 suited here is actually a complete fold. All right, bump up this. Bump up the sevens. They're gonna start calling me the blind man because I'm taking everybody's blinds, taking them all. Look at the blinds. I think I might play a tournament tonight. speaking of blinds, 10-70 here I think is a fold. Yeah. So to the limp here, A7. This is one I am okay in position of bumping up to 20. It's an optional, but with a suited ace in position, I'm perfectly fine with this here. Uh, with the player left to act here, I'm going to fold this. Normally I would be a call, but with the limper, to act, it's kind of a borderline spot there. I would definitely call the king 10 offsuit here to the button open. Interesting spot here. I mean, I'm out of position, so I'm not going to bluff or anything like that. And I'm not going to call a pot size bet. That's just a give up spot. So this is versus the hijack, big blind, 6-5 suited. I can call here. I'd rather call this than like a pair or something. So, backdoor flush draw, not really what I was looking for. Queen to 10 being out there, not too helpful either. And so we can bet out of here, fold out of here. It's an optional spot, and with it being a three-way pot, I'm more inclined to call there with a suited connector than to fold. Very nice flop for me here. That's a pretty big bet. 21 cents. Alright. This does put a straight out there now, but we'll just continue betting. Now we get the straight, so we all have the straight. So 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We're just going to check behind. Don't need to pay any more rake on this. Unfortunate. Started off great. Ends off poorly. Well, I guess it didn't end up poorly because he had a wow. He had a set. In that case, thank God the straight came out because I would have lost that hand. It's a weird scenario. I flop 2 pair, he flops a set. All 8s are done for, and a straight comes on the board and just basically screws us both over. Screwed him more over more. I'll take it. Lucky for me. So we're out of position here with our kings. Interesting board. Alright, we'll just bet here. You know, it is the best hand here at this point, and it's a very drawy board too. I don't want it to go check check. Or an ace come out in the turn either. At least not for free. This is versus... No. I wouldn't think so, but I was just double checking. I like having king king in this spot. Well, when I can three bet. Um, even out of position, we're gonna bet this here. You know, of course we gotta be worried now about a straight. Um, check call it. I feel like this just happened. This kind of sucks. That just happened. Why are there straights coming out on the board? Ruining my hands. Where only the sight wins on that because they get the rake. I swear, sometimes the sites do that on purpose just because they know that they're going to get split pots and they win rake no matter what. And they hope people go shuffle all in so they get more rake. Drives you nuts. Chops suck. Makes 20 cents. Definitely can throw out a C-bet here. So let's see, 6-9, 9-6, not unlikely. 6-4, not too worried about a straight here. Uh, 9-8 off from the small blinds, actually it raise. So king 10 here, we'll definitely call it. No, we don't connect to this board anyway. He can c-bet with anything we're folding. Not too much to talk about here. So Queen Jack here. Offsuit to the limp is actually a fold. It's kind of treading water, waiting for our next spot. Make this 20 cents. Interesting. His limp 8-7 queen. We'll check it off here. We have an open ender now. I'm going to do a check call. If he bets, we'll call. And we kind of brick here, so. Let's see, so 9A here to the limp. And the cutoff is optional, so I'm just going to dump the optionals. That's 9-9, we just call here. He's a preflop raiser, so we're just going to check behind here. He speed checks. Definitely going to call the 10-cent bet. I think I can just take it down right here by checking back. Yep. I don't really expect to get value from betting nines, of course. I think the only thing that would call me would be a queen, queens or tens. So as of course we have to raise up. Definitely not a great flop for me here to see bet on out of position. Now try and get some value. Interesting spot here. I don't know why that was an interesting spot, but I guess it wasn't that interesting. Just gonna put in a value bet, and you know, not really sure what he called me with on a turn. Out of position. That's gonna check this off. The 9, I don't really love the 9 at all for me. Much better for him. Queen 8, was this? No. It was Queen 9. So 4-4 with these guys. This is a bet. Where the other one, the super tight ranges, we were folding 4-4s. We do have a gut shot. Oh, we have an open ender actually. Let's bet here. Not what we're looking for. We're hoping really to get fold out of these guys. That didn't happen. Or at least one of them. I expect both of them to come along. So here we'll just check back. Lots of outs here in this one. So now we're going to bet. It's like 5 o'clock and I'm still eating his almonds. It's really bad news. We're getting a lot of kings. All right. Well, wow. Well, we won out on what the frick? Did we just get two? Oh my god, that was crazy. Well, at least we won on that one because we had that guy who lost, so we split. I don't know what to say about that one. That was crazy. 20 cents here. We both had freaking kings. How crazy is that? Um, I hate to check this one back in position. Don't love the flush situation happening here, but we got to bet it. Min raise. I got to fold it. I have to fold this here. Even though it's just a min raise, it's screaming flush to me. Even with two pair, I got to fold a two pair there. Turn raises at these stakes are generally death, especially on a board like that. We'll see tomorrow what that was. But, you know, unless I hit an ace or a jack and get a full house, I'm never going to feel good about that river if I call that bet. And he was a limp too. And limps, they limp a lot with suited cards. So and limps are not those players are not check raising very often. Threes here, raise it up. They're not check raising very often at all. So I mean, it seemed pretty clear to me he had a flush. Which is unfortunate because we had a really nice hand with two pair. I mean, he could have had a set too. Can't put that past him too. Could have also had a set, but I don't think my two pair is good there, unfortunately. Like I said, we'll find out tomorrow for sure. Ace three, yeah. All suited aces. So we have a gut shot. We have a backdoor nut flush draw. This guy leads out into us like this. I'm not calling that bet. Especially in a multi-way pot. Plus we just call with our jack here. 2 pair. Try and get some value. Again, it being a flush out there does not help it because, you know, he could be folding based on fear of the flush. And I can't get value. But I got to bet. I got to bet it, of course. Again, we'll see. We'll see what he had tomorrow. Queen 9 off a bet. I don't know if this video is going on YouTube, but even if it is, nobody's gonna be watching this anyway. It's like 1,000,000 hours long. It's just more helpful for me to talk to myself. So ace 10 here. Let's fold. Uh, 7-6 suited. Multi-weight pot. I should call it. Not what I was looking for. Yep. All suited aces are getting raised here. Whatever am I being called by? So I just gotta check this. What am I gonna get called by there? red races, 2 pair. That might have just hit on the, you know, hit on the river. I gotta hide these almonds. It'd be optional razor claw. Doesn't matter. It's 10 suited. We bump it up 20. Definitely a C-bet opportunity. Cutoff versus hijack, ace jack offsuit. Optional raise or fold. I'm just going to go with fold. Because if I raise it and then half the world comes with me, it's going to be kind of annoying. It's going to get expensive. Not be a good thing. And stay away from those situations in that spot with so many people left to act. And just, trying to avoid these multi-way pots until I'm a complete expert on multi-way pots. Which I will be after I finish finally watching the module, which has been taking me forever to watch. I'm okay with just limping behind here. See if I just do a check call. See if he tries to bet it to me. Nope. I'll take it. If I decide to post this video on YouTube and anybody watches it, I'll be amazed. Ace-3 suited from the cutoff here is optional. I'm just going to play these suited aces. I'll check. I'm not going to get fancy here. And for that reason, not get fancy because that Jack 9. Jack 9 is going to call my bet if I do a throw to C bet there. Multi-way pots. So I'm just not not going to play around with bluffing at all in multi-way pots, unless I have an open ender. Then it's a different story, or a flush draw. Then I'll do it for value, bluff and value. But that's it for multi-way pots. Other than that, even being in a position, not going to be screwing around there too much. And Jack 10 is a good spot just to call here. I got called from the small blind in position. So this is a check behind. And throws out a min bet. And just call it. And we'll just call this here and hope to take it down with our queen. Yep, we were able to induce a bluff out of that one. So let's see here. Cut off. Ace 9, we could definitely raise this up to 45 cents. Oh, actually, want to make it 0.15 times 5, so 75 cents. Oh, I gotta sit out the next hand. Probably just call it a session here. I'm gonna fold to this. And we'll call it a session since my thing timed out. So if you were watching this, and if I do post it for a 3-hour video, I doubt I will. Yep, thanks for watching.